Hey guys, Wolfheart here with another video just for you. This video will be a little bit different as it is a response video. I've been challenged to do this video, which is called Opposite Books Tag, and this works how? Basically, I'm gonna talk about some of the books I have /read, and yeah, and opposite. For example, a pretty cover, an ugly cover, jibber jabber, jibber jabber. This video, this challenge was issued by my good friend Lunor, who has also a blog and a vlog, and she challenged me if I find out how to put like snapshots of videos. She will be appearing here around now. So without further ado, I'll talk about the books. And just a quick disclaimer, I don't have most of the books that I'm going to talk about here, because as you guys know, I'm not in Portugal, I'm not in my house, I'm in a rented room because I'm studying in the Netherlands. And so, yeah, let's get down to it. And the first two books, which are the first book in your collection and the last you acquired, are, drumroll please, I don't know which is my first book in my collection, because when I was a kid, when I first learned how to read, my school gave away books, and basically you choose one book to practice how to read, and in the end you would get it. So I don't remember which book it is, and for the last book I have acquired, it's I have the covers here. Do I have a cover here? Yes, I have. And it's Modern Romance by Aziz Ansari. This is a non-fiction book about the ins and outs of, well, modern romance in today's world, and compares the dating world of today with the dating world of 20, 30, 40 years in the past. It's a really interesting read. I'm enjoying it quite a lot. Next we have a cheap book and an expensive book. Well, a cheap book, I have Buddhism for Newbies. It's in Portuguese. And I got for like 20 cents on the Kobo store. And I still haven't read it yet, but yeah. As for the expensive book, Deathly Hallows, the last book of the Harry Potter series. And why do I say this was one of the most expensive ones? Because it was delivered on the day that it was released. So I paid Amazon a bunch of fees and a bunch of stuff just to have the book. And now let's move to a male protagonist, a book with a male protagonist and a book with a female protagonist. This one was a no-brainer for me, since these are two of my favorite books ever. And they are pretty known. One of them, I have it here, Fight Club by Chuck Palahniuk. I think that, oh, my bookmark is a picture, a Polaroid of me and my best friend in one of our bestest friends' wedding. Jesus, this photo is awful. Oh, and another bookmark of a Death Note volume. Cool. Nothing else? No. And well, this book is. Sorry about this jump cut. Basically, I ran out of storage in my camera, my cell phone, as I was saying, this book has a name narrator, and well, that's about it. It's a really compelling story. It's a first-person story. I really, really enjoyed it. Sorry if I don't delve too much into the book, but I talked about it, but it didn't record, and now I'm kinda bummed out about it. Sorry, you don't have to pay for the mistakes of my computer. So, now, female protagonist. Doo-doo-doo. The girl with the dragon tattoo. Oh, let me adjust the lighting. It was perfect. Perhaps more light. Crap. Okay, this will have to do. The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo by Stieg Larsson. This is a really, really good book. It's part of now it's a quadrology called the Millennium Trilogy, and now the new one. And it was written by the late Stieg Larsson. I really enjoyed this book. Lisbeth Salander, the protagonist, is a utter badass. She's a hacker. She has a dragon tattoo. Well, this book and its movies are really well known, so I'm not going to spend much time talking about them. And let's move to a book you read fast and a book you took too long. Okay, so a book I read fast. Ronda Rousey's biography, My Fight, Your Fight. Well, in an autobiography, there's not much to talk about. She is also a badass, and she talks how she became interested in MMA, her journey through judo, personal problems, bad boyfriends, uber controlling mother, which turned out to be a good influence, but yeah, really, 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 really good stuff. An awesome book by an awesome fighter, although she got a little bit too cocky, and I believe that's the reason she lost the belt. Now, a book I took too long. Well, this was a no-brainer. It was Haruki's Murakami 1K84. You guys cannot see it. Yeah, whatever. It's a huge book, around 1,000 pages. That is one of the reasons I took too long, but I took like 3 months. But Haruki Murakami, one of my all-time favorite writers, and it never disappoints. It's a book that is really hard to follow because I don't want to give any spoilers, but it has a lot of fantasy stuff and a lot of alternate dimensions and this and that and this and that. So yeah, it's not that easy to follow, but it's worth the read. And it was actually one of the reasons that I bought my first e-reader, because the book is this thick, and I actually got stopped in the airport because they thought that I brought a brick in my bag. So yeah, a national book and an international book. For me, it was difficult to pick an international book because most books I read are international. Sorry. For a national book, I chose one of the few books I have with me, and it's actually a poetry book by Fernando Ribeiro, the lead singer of one of my favorite bands, Municipal, and it's called Como Escavar Abismo, or in English, How to Dig an Abysm? Abysm. I think that's the word. I'm having a blank. So yeah, whee. Actually my bed is there, so I could do that without damaging the booklet. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, no harm done. Okay. International book. The list was way too big, so I really had to choose a good one. And why not Vladimir Nabokov, Lolita? Basically, why did I choose this book? The story is well known, I'm not going to delve into it. It's and another jump cut, this time because of battery issues. But yeah, it's a book that many people have read, so I'm not going to delve too much into the book itself. Now, fiction and non-fiction. Fiction, one of my all-time favorite. Where is it? Where? Mom? No. The Portrait of Dorian Gray by Oscar Wilde. Again, I'm not going to delve into it. It's a really known book. It's a really good, really good read. And it's actually one of the few books I've read more than once. So, and for those who know me, for me to see a movie or to read a book more than one time, it's tough. I don't like re-saying stuff. A non-fiction book. Okay. This was not difficult to choose because lately I've been reading a lot of biographies by some of my favorite athletes, and this was the first book that when I started reading autobiographies, this was one of the first books that I got. Cheating Death, Stealing Life by the late Eddie Guerrero. Eddie Guerrero is a Mexican. He died, if I'm not mistaken, around 2005. He was actually my first favorite wrestler, and the reason I stopped watching wrestling for loads of years, because when I started, I really like this Eddie Guerrero guy. Like 2 months pass, Eddie Guerrero passes away. So yeah, then Chris Benoit, my second favorite wrestler, committed a double murder suicide. So yeah, I pushed away the wrestling stuff. But hey, okay, pretty cover and ugly cover. Pretty cover, pretty. Where did I put that? Pretty cover, I chose The Book with No Name by Anonymous, not The Anonymous. It's actually called The Book with No Name, and the author is called Anonymous, so a lot of mystery, and it looks like an ancient, dark, secret, evil book. I recall not being a bad book, but not being an excellent one, so let's leave it with that. And for the ugly cover, another wrestling book, but this one, Countdown to Lockdown by Mick Foley. I don't like the cover at all. It looks like a bad 90s album. So, me. A romance book and an action book. Romance. Perks of Being a Wallflower by Stephen Chbosky. Am I reading this correctly? Hope so. Really good, really good book. Really funny, really insightful, and it opens a window to that kind of kid that or teenager or young adult, if you prefer, that is not a popular one, but is not It's a wallflower. Really advise to read this book. It's a really interesting coming to age kind of story, and it actually got adapted to cinema a few years ago, starring Emma Watson, also known as Hermione Granger. And yeah, again, I'm repeating myself a lot. Really good stuff. I wouldn't pick bad books. Action. Thomas Harry's Red Dragon, the first story of Hannibal Lecter. Amazing book, really intense book, and also a movie book. Oh, most of the books I chose are movies now. The original question was a book that made you cry and a book that made you happy. But the book that made me cry the most was Leonore's Answers. So I'm going to be original and going to change the question a little bit. And a book that made me scared. No, I'm not trying to do the whole macho things. Oh, boys, don't cry. Just trying something different. And a book that made me scared was the first horror book that I read, and it's called In the Miso Soup by Ryo Murakami. Not related to Haruki, but this book is so intense. I remember reading it sweating out of sheer stress and just being nauseated by the book. It was, well, earth-shattering. It was a really interesting read, to say the least. It was, what the bloody beep. And finally, a book that made you happy. A book that made me happy. This is not the cover of the book that I had, or have, whatever. This is the international cover because I couldn't find a good image. And it's Molly Moon Stops the World, which is an amazing kids book. I read it, I loved it. And it has a pug with sunglasses. Wow. Yeah, really interesting book. I really loved it. It was hella funny. And yeah. Okay guys, I think that this video, I think a thunderstorm is brewing, or someone just took a picture of me in the distance. Sorry. Yeah, I don't have much to add. Perhaps I'll talk a little bit about an upcoming vlog in the next Sunday. Yeah, I'm going to a concert, a festival called Forte Rock, and I'll try to do a little bit of coverage, because why not? If you have a vlog about things. Yeah. So as from that, I recently published a blog post called Jean-Jacques' Mere Exposure, Theory and Inhumanity in Today's Media. I came across this topic, the mere exposure theory, while studying for the final, and well, it's a really good theory. I'm not going to explain it. Read. And yeah, and I think that there's much else to say. So I'll leave the appropriate links in the description, and bye. No, see you guys. Wolfheart.